Big banks once again write their own rules. Unchain Wall Street. They're going to put you all back in chains.
Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm going to start off with something super lighthearted because I don't give a fuck about California. Caitlyn Jenner is entering the race for governor of California if Gavin Newsom is in fact recalled. I don't know if I've ever talked about my stance on like LGBTQ, whatever letters come next. I don't have anything against real trans people necessarily because I'm not brain dead enough to fight the fact that some brains just aren't wired right. People feel a certain way, and in order to basically not kill themselves in a lot of instances, they become trans. Whatever. Honestly, not my life, not my problem. So I don't have anything against Caitlyn Jenner. It's just weird to me because I did grow up as an idiotic teenager, feeding into the whole Kardashian bullshit, and I watched the show a lot, and he was Bruce.
Somebody comes in my house with a gun, yeah, I'm gonna blow his ass away. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's weird to me, so I can't really like watch them now. I can't. If you're on my channel expecting me to use all the right pronouns and terms, you came to the wrong place. I'm probably gonna offend you, so you should go now. I try to do what they want, but within my fucking rights as a human being to be comfortable in it. I'm only gonna do things that make me feel comfortable too. I'm not gonna call you Zim, Zer. It's just not happening. And all I have to say is, of course, the headline out of California is former Olympian, trans activist Caitlyn Jenner runs for governor. That is the most California headline I think I've ever heard. I feel like it sums up what the fuck's going on. Oh, I forgot to add, former Olympian trans activist runs for governor of California as a Republican. California's an odd place, man.
Caitlyn Jenner says she's throwing her hat into the ring as a Republican candidate to oppose Democratic Governor Gavin Newsom, who's facing a recall effort from some residents that are pretty unhappy with his running of the state during the pandemic.
And this morning, she announced that she would jump into the race for governor. Now, if this recall actually moves forward, Caitlyn Jenner would be the highest profile transgender person ever to jump into a race. Now, she's in a lot of advocacy work for the transgender community. She's also been a longtime Republican, but she is branding herself as a social liberal and a fiscal conservative. She says that she has lived in California for the last 50 years, but she says in the last decade, she has seen the state reduced to a single party rule. She says that jobs have tanked. She says taxes have gone up. She jabbed Governor Newsom for dining with lobbyists just a couple months ago during the pandemic. And she says in the next couple of weeks, she is going to be meeting with Californians across the state.
Okay, so I'm about to get into BLM, George Floyd, all of that right now. So if you're easily triggered or hate facts, you should probably go. You should probably just go now. This is your second warning that if you're a little bitch, you need to go because you're not going to be able to handle the things I'm about to say. I've never talked about BLM or anything on my channel before, and honestly, if I'm being completely transparent, it's because I don't want to deal with that much hate all at once. I know I'm a small channel, I barely, get that much activity, but I've seen people who are nobodies suddenly get mass amounts of hate and death threats, and people harassing these people in real life suddenly because of one statement made that they don't agree with. So I've been kind of cautious and slightly nervous, but now's my time to shine. I'm gonna say some things. So we all heard about Derek Chauvin being convicted on all 3 counts that he was charged with.
Find the defendant guilty.
Which you feel however you want about that. I don't think it was ever possible for there to be a neutral jury who never, had any kind of opinion on this. Doesn't exist. So from the get-go, it's kind of a fraudulent thing, and therefore I just don't care what happens after that, honestly. All over the news and all of these left-leaning TV shows and news stations. Oh my God, the tears.
I am so relieved that this is what justice finally looks like for my community. And while I know that this does not bring George Floyd back, perhaps we will see real change, much needed change.
It's the fake joy, the fake caring. It's fake. It's all fake, and it's a bunch of bad actors.
Justice would be that nobody had to die for something like this to happen. But the Black experience is all about finding that joy through the pain.
It was a shared trauma that we all got to witness, but it's the deeper reality behind it is that Black people have been through so much.
There's still a lot of work to be done.
And there's a lot of work to be done.
And so many people believe that shit. It's embarrassing to some degree that so many Americans are so stupid. You're being played. Like, you're being played hard. Imagine being so naive that you think millionaires, athletes, celebrities, all of them, imagine believing any of these politicians or anybody is sincere. Embarrassing. For all the fake tears and bullshit and bad acting, there was a clear message that was sent. This isn't over. That was made very clear. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, they both came out and said that justice still was not served. That seems to be the sentiment from BLM, from Antifa, and from our president. That's reassuring.
A measure of justice isn't the same as equal justice. This verdict brings us a step closer, and the fact is, we still have work to do. We still must reform the system.
Their reasoning for saying that more work needs to be done and justice still was not served is that it was systemically racist, that there was ever a possibility of him not being found guilty. I hate to break it to these people, but that's kind of the point of a justice system. Innocent until proven guilty, just like everybody else. That is not a people of color thing or a discriminatory thing. It's a you break the law in America kind of thing. Kamala Harris saying George Floyd's legacy. She said those words, she said that phrase, George Floyd's legacy. What legacy would that be?
Together with Senator Cory Booker and Representative Karen Bass, I introduced the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. This bill would hold law enforcement accountable and help build trust between law enforcement and our communities. This bill is part of George Floyd's legacy. We are all a part of George Floyd's legacy, and our job now is to honor it and to honor him.
Saying it the way she does implies that there's some kind of positivity to him as a person or the things he did in his life. It implies that he was a far less dangerous person than he actually was. And that is actually one of my biggest issues with this. I don't think George Floyd should have necessarily died on the street publicly. Do I think he did a lot of things that led to that happening? Yes. So when I first saw that video last year, I was like, well, that's fucked. It's fucked. But no part of anything ever has been shown that it was done for race. And everybody putting George Floyd on the pedestal, who tried to pass counterfeit money, does meth and fentanyl, and then resists arrest, is not someone we should be portraying to the future generations as a good person. That's just common sense. The left always tries to use the lines like, why are you bringing up the past? But in this case, when George Floyd is being put on this pedestal, people basically think he's a martyr. I think, yeah, maybe it should be brought up that he once robbed a woman, a pregnant woman, at gunpoint. There's really no coming back from that, in my opinion. Like, once you do something as shitty as that, you're a horrible person. Two things can be right at the same time. Like, he shouldn't have died on the street, and he's also a terrible person. Those two ideas can exist at the same time in the same universe. It's possible. George Floyd was 46 years old when he died. A 46-year-old man in America, they know what's right and wrong. They know what's against the law and what's not. They know what to do to, like, maybe not have a violent interaction with the cops. When you commit a crime in America, especially at 46, you know the risks going into it. There's variables that could change the course of a lot of things. And if you want to take that risk, still, after everything, at 46, that's on you. That's on you. Anything that follows after that, you kind of left it up to other people once you make decisions that stupid. Again, I'm not saying that that officer was a good guy or did the right thing. Two things can be right at the same time. And for some reason, it seems like most people have forgotten that. What is happening in the world? As of 2019, that's the most recent numbers I could find, but as of 2019, there are 700,000 at most officers in this country. That's it. Now compare it to the 328 million citizens. And as of right now, only 30 African American people this year have been shot in a very general sense, meaning not in a wrongful way, this year. White people like me, that number is 50. For Hispanics, it's 20. Those numbers, some are higher, some are lower. Oh my God. You mean black people aren't killed more than any other race? Shocker, news alert. So please tell me where the systemic racism is. Please tell me where the hunting of colored people is when white people are shot by cops more than any other race. We are the majority in the country, so I guess that's kind of expected. But I mean, I'm not gonna stand up for any of those idiots. They probably deserved it. They probably had it coming. And as far as the statistics go, because I know there's bound to be at least one person who says, well, African Americans only make up 13 to 15% of the population in America. Look, I'm sorry. It is not my fault. Just because I'm white. Not my kid's fault, not my family's fault. Other people are out there committing crime. Well, that's not my fault. Like, if there's a bigger percentage of black people committing crimes or getting shot, getting that many interactions with the police when there are only 700,000 in the country, if you're involved with them that much and it goes violent, how is that my fault? How the fuck am I getting labeled a racist because of other people's actions? That's where we're at as a country. It doesn't make sense. Everything's bullshit. If there is systemic racism in America, who's been in office in our government for almost 50 years? Oh, that's right, Joe fucking Biden. People will label you a racist and then vote for Joe Biden. That says more about them than me, right? How do you willingly get a ballot in the mail or go down to vote and are ignorant enough and so unable to think for yourself that you willingly fill in for Joe Biden, Kamala Harris? If you did that, I mean, and I know that, and I meet you, just know I'm not gonna like you. Like, there's no chance of it, because you're a fucking idiot. And I don't like stupid people. Joe Biden, from what I can tell, is the most racist president America has had in at least 50, 60 years. Easily. From fighting for forced busing in the 70s.
Do you agree today that you were wrong to oppose busing in America then?
No,
do you agree?
I did not oppose busing in America. What I opposed is busing ordered by the Department of Education. That's what I opposed.
Well, there was
not
a failure of states to integrate public schools in America. I was part of the second class to integrate Berkeley, California, public schools almost 2 decades after Brown v. Board of Education.
Because your city council made that decision. It was a local decision. So
that's where the federal government must step in. That's why we have the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act. That's why we need to pass the...
Spent the 80s and 90s especially, with that crime bill of his, incarcerating minorities.
Not enough prosecutors to convict them, not enough judges to sentence them, and not enough prison cells to put them away for a long time. That's why we think the president should triple the commitment that he's made tonight for police, prosecutors, and judges for our cities and our states.
That crime bill, I mean, how do you know he did that and not that he's racist? How do you listen to the things he said and not see racism just spewing from his soul? He meant the shit he was saying.
The truth is, every major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of this Congress, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill. If we don't, they will, or a portion of them will, become the predators 15 years from now. And Madam President, we have predators on our streets. We must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not the person that is accosting your son or daughter or my son or daughter, my wife, your husband, my mother, your parents. It doesn't matter whether or not they were deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter or not whether or not they had no background that enabled them to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter whether or not they're the victims of society. The end result is they're about to knock my mother on the head with a lead pipe, shoot my sister, beat up my wife, take on my sons. So I don't want to ask what made them do this. They must be taken off the street. That's
so much stereotyping and labeling and just assumptions and automatically assuming all black people are criminals. He's literally been friends with Klansmen. Klansmen! Like, how do you get away with this? Why does everybody in the media and in any general vicinity of Joe Biden try to portray this message that he's not racist? Like, if you fundamentally disagree about something that is that serious with someone, you're not going to be friends with them or speak at their funeral or call them a mentor and actually admit that you learned a lot from them. Yikes.
C. Byrd was a parliamentary library, a keeper of the institution of the Senate, and he was the institution itself. But to me, and many people here today, like guys I see, Bill Bradley and Jim Sasser, who've long left the Senate for greener pastures, and I hope better remuneration. We used to kid about that too, but for a lot of us, he was a friend, and he was a mentor, and he was a guide.
Yikes, 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 that people actually don't think he's a racist. How did he fool you guys? How did he get away with fooling people? He literally was only running for vice president because of a man that happened to be black as well. I don't like labeling people like this. Like, I think it's so weird. And yet this is where we are as a society, just labeling everybody by their race. Anyways, running for VP with a black man, and he still could not hold back his racism. And this was 2008. 2008.
Sort of mainstream African American, who is articulate and bright and clean and a nice looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Anytime when he was running for president last summer, when he would actually come out of his basement, you know, those rare moments, he literally could not help himself from saying something racist every single time. Here's that.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
You all know, but most people don't know,
Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. You go to Florida, you find a very different attitude about immigration in certain places than you do when you're in Arizona.
This country is doomed. It is doomed, not just because of African Americans, but because by 2040, this country is going to be minority white European. You hear me?
America needs a motherfucking reality check. At some point I'll do a video about Kamala Harris and her using her nationality for fucking fake, phony political reasons. I didn't get into it in this video, but maybe I will. I don't know. Hopefully the next video will be about the age limits that I think should be in place for president. Hopefully that'll be coming soon. For some reason, Democrats have convinced people, brainwashed people into thinking, identifying people, and doing everything, making every decision in your life based on someone else's race or your race or white guilt or like not wanting to seem racist. If you have preconceived notions about an entire race of people, that makes you racist. And if you're trying to purposely, knowingly group everyone together based on their race and make your decisions based on that, how do you not realize you're literally being racist? What the fuck is happening? When did people get so stupid? Like, when did the stupidity reach this peak? I'm kind of afraid that America can't come back from it. I'm really scared for the future of our country because literally everybody's stupid. Everybody is not using their brain. Majority of people, and especially the most powerful people, most rich, most influential people, are dumb as fucking shit. And everyone just follows suit. And it's like, what the fuck? Why does nobody have the ability to think for themselves anymore? Why can nobody be objective or have a somewhat original thought? Not everything has to be agreeable. Not everyone's going to agree. Like, if you don't realize that, you're too fucking weak to live. Like, you gotta be okay with people not thinking just like you. And you can't label them a bunch of irrational, untrue shit just because you're a sensitive little fucking baby. Hopefully, if you're a rational person, you realize I'm not being racist right now. This whole video was not racist. Hating people, for me, isn't based on race. It's a people thing. I hate people. All races can be stupid as shit and annoying as shit, in my opinion. Majority of the people I've hated in my life have been white. We gotta stop focusing on race. It's fucking ridiculous. We can actually get shit accomplished. See, the thing is, I'm sure there are racist cops, but racism doesn't just work one way. Ding, 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 wake up, realize you're a sheep. For me, personally, it doesn't matter what race you are. I'm probably not gonna like you. I don't like most people, and it has nothing to do with race. Just the fact that most people in general are terrible fucking people. Let me know your thoughts below. I hope you liked the video. If you leave a comment calling me racist, I'm gonna respond, delete your comment, and then block you from my channel. So there's really no point. Suck a dick. Please fuck off. And for all my subscribers or potential future subscribers, thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.